Well, good morning. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today on the menu, it's early November, but I'm going to do some Thanksgiving dressing. It's one of my most requested recipes, and especially on my Facebook, A Country Boy Can Cook. Everybody's always asking, how do you make your dressing? What's the recipe? And I have it down there. So if you'd like to be part of my Facebook, just go to A Country Boy Can Cook, and that's Facebook, and send your request. It's private. We don't allow any selling of anything or anything like that. So let me know on this video if you're going to say, hey, I want to be part of the Country Boy Can Cook Facebook group, and that way I can look for your name, because we get bombarded every day with people wanting in it. And first thing you know, they've been a member of Facebook for 3 days, and they're a member of 20 groups. So you know what's going on. So anyway, let's get to this recipe. It's a really good one. It's my mother's recipe. I'm not going to follow my mother's recipe this morning because hers makes a lot. It's just my wife and I. And dressing freezes really good. You won't have a problem there. I'll probably make enough today to get us through Thanksgiving and the sandwiches, which is one of my favorite things to do, with turkey and dressing and a little bit of cranberry. And I'll have a cranberry recipe coming up really soon too, so look for that. Anyway, let's get to it. I've already got ahead of the game a little bit. I've got my cornbread. I've got rolls and bread and cornbread, and I've had it in my oven, the oven turned off, and the door cracked for about 2 days, so it really dries out really good. You want really dry breadcrumbs. You can see it's dry, toasty rough. I can't even say it's early. It's toasty and crunchy. You know what? While I'm doing that, let me show you something else, what I'm going to do here. Get this over so you can see it. Alright. I've got mine. In this, all I use is celery and onion, sweet onion. Both of them are in here. They chopped up. I put them in my food processor. I run these through the microwave just so that they're soft, not anything crazy. Get a knife here. I put about, for this amount, I probably put about 3 tablespoons of butter on top. And I'm going to microwave this. You can put it in a skillet and do the same thing. I just want it soft. I don't want the vegetables just a little cooked on them. And matter of fact, here's one of the first things I discovered about 6 years ago in our food group. I did a traditional Southern dressing recipe. I cut the vegetables up and put them in with my cornbread dressing, and put them in with my cornbread and my bread and all that, not cooked. Because in my way of thinking, okay, it's going to be in the oven for almost an hour. They're going to be wet, and they're going to be in at 350 degrees. If that don't cook a piece of celery and onion, what will? I'm not a real fan of mushy vegetables, so I did one, and it turned out just fine. You couldn't tell it if they had been pre-cooked and put in there. I know the traditional recipe, saute them in butter until they get soft and then put them in, but I'm telling you, try it. If you don't have time, try it and put them in. I think you'll be so surprised, and it works. But this morning I'm going to heat them up. I'm going to put them in a microwave. The recipe calls for a little bit of butter anyway, so there you are. Let me get right back with you, and let me go put this in the microwave, and I'll be right back with you. All right, I've got my bread back over here. Let me finish that. I've got that vegetable set for 6 minutes. It'll probably have to go more than that. That'll give me time to get this done. You can see I'm using cornbread. I actually made a couple small pans of cornbread to make this with. We don't eat as much cornbread as I used to. Still working on my youthful figure, but I sure do love it when I do get to eat it. We have some rolls left over from a dinner. You can see they're dried out pretty good. It's taken all this old dude's strength to break them apart, so I hope you are having a really good day. I know this is the day after the election results is when I'm making this, and I'll probably this is Thursday morning. This is Thursday morning, and I'll probably release this on Friday evening. That way everybody can, if you're needing a good southern-made dressing recipe, you can use this for sure. I've got, like I say, this is not my mother's recipe exactly. She used stock. Here's some chicken broth. There's not a lot of it in there, maybe about this much, not a little bit, about a half. I've got some condensed chicken soup, because there's no meat that goes in this dressing, and some celery. So let me go ahead and get those in here. Check that baby up, make sure it's all in there. I've had this in the fridge. Alright, let me get this condensed soup in here. I mean, besides being a good soup to eat on a cold day when you're not 100%. Let's say chicken soup is mom's penicillin. Well, this is not my mom's chicken soup. It'll do in a pinch anyway. Get out of here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to heat this up and pour this into the dressing. Pour this into my breadcrumbs. So you're going to try to get everything out of there. And this is a pretty basic recipe. There's no pecans, there's no fruit, there's no meat. Nothing wrong with that. It just, I was raised on traditional dressing. Not a lot of stuff in it. Now I did try one time. I put dried cranberries. And I was so surprised how good it was. But my wife is from Arkansas and she's really traditional. She don't want to add a foo-foo. And I was at a gathering one time, because most of the years of Thanksgiving I wasn't even in town. I was off on hunting trips guiding or hunting on my own, and just stir this up here. So one year I decided I was going to be home and went to some friend's house, and man, they had a big old huge turkey that they had roasted in the oven. Had a big huge pan of really beautiful darkened dressing. I could see it was kind of crispy around the edges. Boy, I love that. And so yep. Let me go see if these are done. I'll bring you back the story about the dressing. Back again. So my mouth was watering, and when they said go, everybody lined up, and I headed over to get me a big mess of dressing and some sliced turkey and some cranberries. And yeah, and I've always liked that cranberry that comes out of the can. Looks like a loaf, like a log. I've learned to like fresh made cranberry sauce, and I'll be making some of that really soon. I like it really good. So, and I also make some for my wife. Her being a diabetic, I use Splenda in it. It actually tastes really good. Anyway, back to the story. I'm long-winded here. I got this big plate full of food, you know, Jethro plate. It was so good looking. Went over to sit down and stuck a fork in it. I've got a gag reflex to like eggshell and an egg. Now, if you gave me an egg, said, "Can you eat this whole egg, shell and all?" I'd eat it if it was on a bed. I might not like it, but I'd eat it and I wouldn't throw up. But eating something soft and something crunchy showing up that's not supposed to be there, oh my God. That's what, for years, I've never liked ice cream with nuts in it because of that same thing. I just nearly puke. So I get me a big bite. I'm going in for the kill. I take about 2 bites down on it, and then all of a sudden I hit this crunchy thing. It felt like there was a whole eggshell in there. Oh my God. I said, what is in this dressing? This crusty stuff. Oh, we put pecans in it. That's the way we like it. I said, oh, I see. I didn't tell her Bob, I almost threw up. I kind of scooted all the pecans out what I could find and ate the rest. They had a great flavor. And my food tastes have changed. I might like that now, I don't know. But I ain't put it in here. But I do like it with cranberries mixed in and baked. So anyway. Let me go switch out this soup and the broth and bring back the vegetables, and we'll get to mixing. Like I say, it's not hard. And I'm going to put my mother's recipe at the end of this video, so don't think, okay, here comes another recipe and you don't even have it written down. Well, you're right, but I do have copied from my Facebook group, A Country Boy Can Cook. I've got the copies of it, and I'll put it on the screen. So if you want to make a traditional, I'm just making something for my wife and I to get this through Thanksgiving and Christmas. All right. You can see the steam has come off of them. They still look like vegetables, but they're cooked. You can see that's a piece of bread I just put in there. The onions are translucent. Is that what they call that, translucent? In other words, they're cooked. The celery's the same way, but it's not cooked into a mush. And there's butter on the bottom. So I'm going to take some poultry seasoning. Get this baby open. How much am I going to put in? I'm going to really do it to taste. When I get ready to mix all this together, and after it's mixed together, before I put the egg in, and I put sage in mine. I know that's a polarizing thing for people. Some people love it and some people hate it. I've got some cousins in Mississippi. The Bayou girl, I'm trying to talk her into doing a YouTube page. She lives on a bayou. And she gardens and has animals and a mother and a wife. And she said maybe. She's thinking about it. And she's a great cook. I know her and her sister, I believe, put sage in their dressing. They're the daughters of the Mississippi mud farmer that lives off now. He lives no longer in Mississippi. He's down in L.A., lower Alabama. So I go ahead and put my seasonings in here to get a head start. I've got a pepper shaker here. There it is. Get it out over here. Put a little bit of pepper. I don't put any salt in here. Like I say, this is going to be re-seasoned. I'll mix it up with my melted soup and stock with all the vegetables in, and at that point, before I added egg, and there's an egg that goes in here, that helps set it. So let's get this in here. Just dump her in there, boys and girls. Oh man, it smells like Thanksgiving all of a sudden. That sage smell. How do you make your dressing? Do you have a recipe that's a family recipe that's been around for years? Or is it just something that you've never made before? A lot of people don't, and I know this is not stuffing. I didn't grow up with people putting dressing inside of birds. Now I have put stuffing inside of catfish and blackened them. That's pretty good stuff. I've never done it on a bird. So you can see I'm just, maybe you can't see. You can see I'm just mixing this around. Just getting a head start on it. Some of these pieces will stay kind of whole. Some will just go down to nothing. Anyway, so do you make dressing? Or do you make stuffing? And if so, you can put your recipe under the comments. Everybody loves it. I mean, I think everybody loves the different recipes, or they wouldn't be here watching this. Maybe somebody will use your recipe. And anyway, let's get this mixed up, and I'll be back with you here in just a minute. Still a few more minutes for the broth to heat up. So if you add anything to your dressing or stuffing, what do you put in it? Do you put any types of meat? I've never had oyster dressing. Now, I love oysters. I like them raw and fried. I'm not sure I'd like them in, I don't know if they're put in where they're fried or if they're put in where they're raw. Maybe somebody can tell me. I don't know. I've never had it. I've heard of it. I've never even looked at a recipe of it. So if any of y'all make oyster dressing, let me know. It sounds good, but it may be one of those texture things. I don't know. Do the oysters cook up and get plump on the inside? I don't know. And do you make giblet gravy to go with this? I do make giblet gravy, even though I don't have. We're not going to do a turkey. Go to the deli and buy. We both love white meat, so we go to the turkey and go get some turkey out of the deli, and I get them to slice it about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch slices, and get like 2 pounds of that, which is a pretty good sized chunk. And we heat that up, and that's all we use. And as far as the gravy, I'll take some chicken livers and some spices and mix it, and I make just like a breakfast gravy, put it and thin it out, and so we can pour it over and cook it and thin it out, and so we make the gravy out of it and pour it over our dressing. So all right, let me see if this liquid is hot enough. All right, I'm back. And yes, it was hot enough. It was bubbling. That turnip's hot. Yeah, you're gonna say, hey old dude, why didn't you get a hot pad? Well, yeah, it's just one more thing I gotta clean up. I poured just a little bit of time. I think I'm gonna have plenty, and I may need to actually have some more to get the moisture in here. One thing about this condensed soup mix though, you can add just water to it and it will bring it on in. Yeah, it's gonna have to have some more. I'm playing musical spatula here. Here's the reason I didn't put it in the sink already, because I knew I'd be getting all the goodie out of here. You can see it's starting to break down. It's going to need a little bit of more liquid. And like I said, because of this condensed soup that I'm using, it will take water and be no problem. You don't even have to heat up the water. Also, you can make this like 2 days before. Put your egg and everything in it and get it set. And put your egg in after it's cooled down, or because you'll have scrambled eggs. So yeah, it's going to need a little bit more water. And I've got my bowl that I had my onions and stuff in. Anyway, you can put it in the fridge. You can tell I can't do two things at once. I got to concentrate on one thing. And it's going to take a little bit more. Now this is Southern seat of the pants dressing. I watched my grandmother make this, my mother make it so many times. Oh my goodness. Great memories just making this. And I don't have to tell you how it smells right now. Boy, it's almost getting there. And you can take it and break this cornbread up into little bitty pieces and let it set and soak. And you will have a smooth dressing. Matter of fact, I've seen people make it with cornbread mix and put it in with their vegetables. It looks like cornbread kind of, except they added a lot of liquid and didn't cook it until it was dry. It's going to have a little bit more. Old dude was right. This will do it right here, boys and girls. It's so close. I like it so I can tell it's got cornbread and the bread and everything's all in there together, all mixed up, but yet it's separate. I don't want it so much liquid it comes out and sets up like a bread pudding. I like to be able to scoop it out, but you make it your own. It's just the way the old dude prefers it. And if you make dressing, do you remember the first time that you ever made it? Well, it's fond memories for me. My first time I ever made it without my mom there and, you know, helping her in the kitchen. Matter of fact, I found a picture of me. I don't know what I was helping her cook, but I was helping her cook something. And we were in the kitchen together. I'll overlay that. So the first time I ever cooked dressing by myself, my wife and I had been married a couple of years. I was a go-getter. When we first got married, I had a service station going to college. I sold the service station, went to work for the railroad, Texas and Pacific, out of Fort Worth, Texas. I was on the section gang crew. We were the crew that went out and repaired the tracks. Middle of the night, middle of the morning, weekends, we were always on call. And at the same time, we had a little house in Argyle, Texas. It was about, I don't know, 1,200 square feet. It was a kitchen, living room that was about as big as my kitchen here, and a bathroom and a bedroom and one closet. Buddy, she was small, a little shotgun house. And I had bought that when I was in high school. I told you I was an overachiever. And so I got a chance to manage a ranch as a ranch manager. It was in Argyle at that time, or Bartonville. It really wasn't even a city at that time. It's now called Lantana. If you're from the Dallas area, or you can look it up. It's a huge. They sold that ranch. I think that ranch was 10,000 acres. I don't even remember how big it was. But anyway, I was a ranch foreman up there, and they furnished us with a house, and the house set up above a couple of ponds and had woods, and we had duck, dove, quail, no deer. There was a few deer at that time, but very few. And so my wife was pregnant. She was pregnant with our firstborn, Trisha. And Thanksgiving morning, I got up early and made dressing. She was asleep because she was due 2 days later. If she hadn't gone into labor on Thanksgiving Day or the day after, they were going to induce labor on Friday. And so I got up and made dressing, put it in the oven, turned it on real low, and took off and went hunting with my old trusty double-barrel shotgun. I ended up killing the big swamp rabbit. I don't know if y'all know what that is. It's like a cottontail, except it's really big. It's not a jackrabbit, it's a swamp rabbit. And I think I killed a dozen quail that morning. There was 3 coveys. I knew exactly where they were. I didn't have I had a dog. I had a retriever, but I didn't have her with me. And ended up getting, I think, either 10 or 12, I don't remember, and brought those home, cleaned those, and I seasoned that rabbit up and put it in the oven, and we fried that quail up, and we had homemade dressing. What a meal to remember. I've got that posted every year. It comes up as a memory on my Facebook, and for a long time my daughter would read that, and she said, "Dad, here it is Thanksgiving, you brought me to tears." So, just bringing back the memories is all it was, and it was a great meal that I had at that time. So anyway, back to mixing this. I'm going to do a taste test. And we get a plastic spoon here, and you can taste it now because it's just mushy bread with vegetables. Well, that's good, just like it is. Man, talking about getting lucky on the first round. I had buried. That's what you call luck, boys and girls. All right, I can put my egg in it now. I've had this egg setting out coming to room temperature for about an hour. I was lazy this morning. I knew I was going to be doing this cook. I ran to McDonald's, which is about a mile away. And got some coffee. I've got it sitting off to the side. Get my seat repositioned here. So on this amount, I'm just going to put 1 egg. If you could use 2 eggs, but I'm telling you, it would set it up like it was bread pudding or something. It'd be real thick. I want it to be a little bit crumbly, but I want it to set, and you can actually bake it like this without eggs. It won't hardly set up. It'll look good. But I like to add 1 egg. It's my mom always did. So I'm just going to put this beaten egg over the top. Just mix that in. Like I said, it's got butter in it because the butter was in you'll see in my mother's recipe, she put butter in it, melted butter. Well, I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Put the melted butter that was on top of the vegetables cooking in the microwave. My mother didn't have a microwave when I was living at home. They didn't get one until later years. So she never cooked with it. And I don't think she really ever cooked with it. They just used it as a warmer to warm the coffee, maybe thaw stuff out when they had one. Make sure you get it all the way out the bottom, turned over. You don't want any dry spots. And like I said, this you can take and put this in the fridge for a couple of days. Keep it covered really good. Not longer than 2 days though, and get it out and bake it. So you can make this ahead before Thanksgiving or your Christmas celebration or whatever celebration you may have in your life. I realize everybody doesn't have Christmas. And you can see it's kind of thick, but yet it's mushy enough. Let's get this in here. I got this casserole dish sprayed with butter spray. I would pick it up and dump it in, but I just ain't strong like it used to be. And I don't know how much it weighs, but it's not real heavy. I'm going to bake this for about an hour, 350. Get every last drop of this goodness. And if you're wondering if the egg changes the flavor a little bit, but if you're wondering about the flavor, if you need to add more seasoning, you can literally take this and fry this up in like a little skillet, and just taste of it. Make you a little patty out of it. And matter of fact, I have a recipe. I'm not going to do it today. But it is a recipe for dressing balls. Have you ever heard of dressing balls? I put up a picture of them. I made them 4 or 5 years ago, took them to a party, and it's dressing made into balls and they're fried. I know there's probably a joke in there somewhere, but we're going to keep this family friendly. Anyway, I take and smooth out the top so it'll kind of bake evenly. Anyway, those dressing balls are scooped out and fried. And I'll show you how to do that on a different recipe. But I took them to a party one time. I never seen a recipe on them. I just, I like to experiment. So I made these, and oh my God, they were great. Just absolutely freaking great, like you wouldn't believe. I served it with gravy and a sweet and sour mustard sauce, and then cranberry sauce. You could put them in a toothpick and pick them up. They were about 1 inch. Matter of fact, here's a scoop that I use. You can see it's about 1 inch, and people just fell in love. Like, where did you get these? And they had the full flavor of Thanksgiving dressing in it. So anyway, let me get this in the oven. There she is right there. And I'll be back with y'all in about 1 hour. See you then. All right, let's check the temperature. 192. It's about 3 inches thick. I checked down through the center. She's ready. Got a beautiful gold top to it. I'm ready for a bite. I don't know about y'all, but get a fork here. Give me a fork here. Now I need some cranberry sauce for this and a piece of turkey, but let's see if we can get me a crunchy. I like the crunchy edges. You can see it's brown around the edge. I've got this sprayed with butter spray. It'll come out kind of easy that way. How's that, boys and girls? The smell is intoxicating. You can see the celery right there, piece of the onion right there. It's cooked all the way through. Like I said, it was pre-cooked in the microwave. You know what the next step is. All right, let's get a bite of this. I know it's lava hot, but my mouth and my tongue is like saying, get in here, get in my belly. All right, let's get a bite of this, see what you think. I know it's gonna be hot. Boy, it's hot. I gotta wait a minute. Oh my goodness. That is so good. Bring on Thanksgiving. This is like unbelievably good. And this freezes really well. I'm gonna take this after it cools down. I'm gonna put it in some vacuum packed bags. Enough for a meal for both of us each and a little extra. That's probably about 3 or 4 bags. If I need to make more for Christmas, I will, but it'll be perfect staying in the freezer for the next 60 days, no problem, if it lasts that long. Well, thanks for being with me. Thanks for putting up with the old dude and my recipes. I'll be posting my mother's recipe at the end of this video. Please subscribe if you're not. I really need the help. And hit that notification button. Hit it for all my videos. And leave me a comment and share my videos. Do you make dressing or do you make stuffing? What recipe do you use? What do you like Like I say, I've never had it, but there's oyster dressing. I don't know. Never had it. I don't know what it'd be like. Anybody out there tell me what it's like? Is it good? Are the oysters cooked all the way through, or are they fried? I don't know how they do it. So anyway, leave me a comment and share my videos. I do appreciate it. If you share them, YouTube realizes I'm the old dude's here in the house. So they will, once you share them, that even shares them to more people. So I'm out of here. I'm gonna finish the rest of this, and I know the wife's gonna come here and get a taste. And I'll catch you on the next video.